On the weekly chart, we're going to take a look at AMD right here. You can see overall indecision this past week. We broke down 2 weeks ago out of this overall structure. We left this on because we were going to see if we could climb back into this lower trend line here. It looks like we did not. So going forward into next week, we're going to see if this overall trend line right here, it's trading at 202, is going to hold. If not, then we're going to be looking down here at this 184 range. But if we do get a nice little bounce in here, then our first resistance is going to be this previous lower trend line, which is currently trading at 218. So that's what we're going to be looking at in here, basically 202 to 218 in here. We're going to see if we can go up and kind of bounce our head on this or get a nice bounce off this 202 down here, about $5 off of it right now. We're trading at 207. You got an expected move of right around $12 priced in by this Friday. So both of these levels are definitely in play. And then to the upside in here, if we can get a little rip in here on some decent volume and a hold of this trend line right here, then we're looking at this 9-day EMA sitting at 220. Then we're focusing on this 227 and then ultimately this 240 back in here. And that'll give us a nice little move back into this overall structure, and then we can play that thing accordingly. But again, we're going to have to wait and see what happens in here. Large IV sitting at 37, and that's mostly due to these two red candles that we had in here on the weekly chart, especially last week, the first week of February, where you had that big red candle in here on a pullback. Now, as far as speaking of big red candles on a pullback, we're going to take a look at Apple in here. And you can see on the weekly chart, that's what we did in here this most recent week. So AMD did this thing 2 weeks ago, Apple this previous week. So we're going to see how we kind of, I guess, console ourselves down here for Apple. What kind of consolidation are we going to get in here? We're basically going to be looking at a channel between 260 and right around that 253 range. We're trading at 255 right now. So we're going to see if we can bust out of either of these. If we do reach below that support that we just mentioned, that 253, then we're looking down here right around that 250 psych level. That's also where our lower trend line is here overall on our weekly chart. So that should be a nice set of footing for us in here that we can get a nice little pop in here. Now, as far as to the upside, if we do get above that 259, then we're looking in here at the 9-day EMA sitting at 263. And then above there, we're just kind of walking it up, basically $2 wide channels, 263, 265, 267, working our way up to that 269, 270 range. Now, as far as our implied volatility goes in here, we're sitting at 24. You have right around a $6.98 expected move priced in by this Friday. Next Friday, it's looking right around $11. So we're going to see what happens overall in here in Apple. We're going to watch our correlation with Apple and our divergences with the overall market. We're also going to keep in mind how these big mega caps also interact with AMD and things like that. So those lower, not really lower caps, right? But it's not NVIDIA, right? So AMD, so you're going to see how that kind of interacts as well with the overall markets. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens this week. Good volatility, basically kind of sucked in the whole market all around in here. So let's see how is that going to affect everything as we have a shortened week in here and then we open up on Tuesday. So a shortened week coming up. This week we have a holiday on February 16th. So February 17th, we are going to be opening Tuesday. Let's see how a shortened week and this overall volatility is going to affect us as we're going into this next trading session. All right, guys, if you like this video, make sure to check us out on all of our social media. We also have a Discord service if you are interested, and you can find all of our socials in the description below.